What is going on, everybody out there in the YouTube trucking community? Sean Cahalan, Christian Brother Trucker, coming at you again with another video today. And today, it's going to be kind of a hodgepodge of topics. Wanted to give you guys an update over here at Doug Andrews Transportation, or I always get that wrong. Doug Andrews Distributing. I'm getting ready to wrap up my first week, and it's been a pretty solid week. I left out with a load of potatoes from Idaho Falls, headed and took that over to Plover, Wisconsin, and ended up having to go up to Williston, North Dakota to get a tire fixed on my trailer, and then ran over to Wisconsin, got that dropped, and then picked up another load of food, frozen food, like maybe 8 miles up the road, and I'm heading back over towards Burley, Idaho. So basically, I'm going to be dropping this off in Idaho Falls because the trailer's got to get some tires looked at. We got some tires that are scrubbing on the trailer really bad, and we're not sure if it's mismatched casings that's causing it, like an odd-shaped tire that got mismatched in there that it's not quite the same size as the other ones, or if it could be a bad bearing or something's out of alignment back there. But anyway, I'm going to get that dropped off so that it can get looked at by the shop. And hopefully I can swing into Walmart, get some groceries, get this truck stocked up, because I'll tell you what, I've been living out of the truck stops to eat, and that's not cheap. That's really expensive. So, got my first settlement today. It's a decent check. So I have no complaints. I'm driving a nicer truck, and I'm running good. And it took me a while to get used to the electronics, the e-log system that they use, and the policies and procedures for the paperwork and all of that, but it's all pretty standard. So everything's going really smooth. I'm really happy with how things are going. And yeah, so I'm going to be dropping this off. I'm probably going to get sent back out again, out and back again. I got to be home by the 27th for a meeting. So things are going really good, pretty smooth. No complaints here as far as the job goes. Now, I do have a public service announcement for all you truck drivers out there. And, if you want to share this video with other people, you want to get the word out about this to all the truck drivers that you know, all you trainers, all you trainees out there, I'm going to talk a little bit about training, and then I'm going to talk about just a really big, I guess you call it a pet peeve, but I almost killed a driver. And I was driving along, doing about 65, and I had a whole line of cars next to me, and I had a whole line of cars, in that left lane as far back as I could see. And we're all clipping along, doing about 60, 65. And I see a truck up ahead that's over on the shoulder. Now, generally, I don't think he had his flashers on. He didn't have his triangles out, nothing. So I thought that, everything was okay. I was keeping an eye on the truck, making sure, seeing if I had to get over. And I didn't really have an opportunity to get over. So needless to say, I couldn't get over even if I wanted to. Well, as I'm coming up on this truck, I see this driver walk around the front of his truck and open his driver's door, and he's parked on the fog line. Like, there is no room at all. And he flings open his driver's door, and he steps out in front of his driver's door to get into his truck or do something. Y'all, I have never come so close to killing somebody as I came yesterday. I don't know what this guy was thinking. I don't know why drivers think that it's okay to let me back this up a little bit. I'm opposed to pulling over on the shoulder. Unless your truck explodes, breaks down, something falls off, and the truck will not go, don't pull over on that shoulder, especially on the interstate. Find an exit. Get off the exit. Park on the shoulder of the ramp if you have to. If you're having a check engine light come on, you're having a weird noise coming from the truck, get off the road. The first thing that you should do, the first thing that you should be thinking about is get that truck off the road. Pulling over on the shoulder to take a leak, pulling over on the shoulder to swap out drivers, y'all, you don't even know how dangerous that is. And if y'all don't know, I will tell you that I almost ended a dude's life yesterday, okay, because I could not get over. Now, what I had to do is I did have to push cars, not physically, but yeah, I had to make room for this driver that flung open his driver's door out into the lane that I was driving in at 60, 65 miles an hour. It scared the crap out of me. So, you know, share this public safety announcement with everybody that you know, anybody that you care about. Just, you know, people need to stop doing this. Somebody's gonna die. Okay? So yeah, it was just really sketchy, really scary. So I also got a viewer comment that was in response to my last video that I made about switching jobs again. And he commented and said, well, your wife can always help out and get a job. As I appreciate the comment, it kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. Kind of not. You know, it's one of those irritating things that I'm a conservative Christian, and I believe in a little bit more conservative view as far as the role of the woman and the role of the man. And not to say that, you know, I expect my wife to be barefoot and in the kitchen and making babies. That's not really what I'm saying here. But I am saying that my wife does a lot. She's a stay-at-home mom. We homeschool our kids. And if she was to go out and get a job, we wouldn't even be able to afford the child care that we would need. So, as much as I appreciate the unsolicited advice and the comment, you know, I'm going to do what I have to do. And even if that involves going out and filing bankruptcy and making financial changes in our family, I'm not going to make her go out and get a job because she has enough on her plate as it is right now. So, yeah, and I guess, you know, you can call that a fundamentalist Christian view or something like that. I'm not really sure, but I just firmly believe that men are, you know, designed to go out and provide and work hard and bring home the bacon, and mama cooks it and eats it. You know, I don't know how else to put it. I was raised in an environment where my dad worked. Well, my parents were divorced, but my parents split up when I was really, really young, and so my mom was she went and got a career as a nurse. And my dad had remarried my stepmom, and she would work with my dad on the framing crew because he was a framer. So, you know, never at any point in my environment growing up did I have a stay-at-home mom at home to help me with my schooling, to help keep me on track, to help supervise me. And I was a troublemaker. Why? Because, hey, mom's not home. I'm going to go out and run around with my friends. So, you know, I think looking back on life and the way that I was brought up, I wanted a stay-at-home mom. I wanted somebody there at home, and I think that I would have been brought up a little bit better had that been the case. I don't guarantee that, but chances are pretty good that if you know, my dad went out and worked and he treated my mom right and my mom was able to be a stay-at-home mom, I think it would have produced a better person, i.e. me. if I would have always had a parent at home. I pretty sure that I wouldn't have been running around getting in trouble like I did. That was a weird noise. So, anyway, those are just my personal views. Those are just my opinions. Now, if you're going to come back in the comments and give me your opposing opinion, you're entitled to your opinion as well. And if you're married and your wife works, great. I just know that I was brought up, both my parents worked, and I didn't like it. And so I try my best to make sure that my wife stays home with the kids, raises the kids. That way they're supervised, they're loved, and hopefully it will produce happier kids in the long run. I don't guarantee that, but I just feel that that's what God wants us to do in our home. So that's what we're doing. So, no, my wife's not going to go out and get a job. It was something that I told her when we first got married, that, she loves being a stay-at-home mom, and she loves nothing more than that. So it's like, all right, well, I will go out and earn a living. And it works well. It doesn't work for a lot of people, but it works pretty well for me and my wife. So I know, it's strange, right? Especially in today's society. So backwards. So, yeah, to kind of wrap up my thoughts here, it's just one of those things that, stop pulling over on the shoulder. Unless it's an absolute emergency, don't pull over on the shoulder. It's super dangerous. You think about how many tow truck operators have been killed, how many police officers are killed on the line of duty, because they're run over by somebody. But if you have to pull over on the shoulder and you're getting out to check something, go out the passenger side door. And then when you get back into the truck, get back into the truck through the passenger side. Even if you've got a microwave and a fridge strapped to your seat, you find a way to get in and out that passenger side. Because the alternative is you're on a really high risk of getting run over by somebody like me who can't get over. Anyway, it just really scared me. I've never come so close to running somebody over in my life. That was, and I've been out here for a long time. But that guy didn't even look to see that I was coming up on him. He just come around that truck and opened his door, and I'm like, dude, are you serious right now? Okay, I guess I'm moving over, and I had a whole bunch of cars next to me that had to get onto the rumble strip so that we can make room. Otherwise, I was going to take the dude's door off. It just really sketched me out, in case you couldn't tell. So, just think about that. Be safe, and don't park on the shoulder if you can avoid it. So I've been listening and watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos on training. Whole bunch of training stories from Prime Trucking. So I've heard this go both ways. Some people say my trainer didn't do enough, and then other people say that my trainer did too much. So I think that some people, when they get onto the truck, it doesn't really matter. There are some people out there that are unteachable and they are uncoachable, and they just don't care, don't realize the type of truck that they're driving or the type of vehicle that they're driving, and they're just unsafe. You've got people that don't have a good, strong work ethic. You have a lot of people that aren't conscientious. You have a lot of people that just don't have a whole lot of common sense. And this is on both sides of the fence. You've got some of these people that don't have any common sense, are not conscientious people, and they're training other people. and they don't even know what they're doing themselves, right? But the training program at Prime Inc. is like 50,000 miles or something like that. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I would train trainees for 7,500 miles. And then if they were good to go and I signed off on them, they went solo. And if they had any issues or needed a little bit more training, they would do another 7,500 miles, which is like, can be done in 2 months, both phases. So I'm like, what do they really think that people need to learn? And you hear these people that have gone through all this training, or they go halfway through training and they still can't back the truck up. They still don't know how to slide their tandems. They don't know how to do their job. And I've watched a couple of videos where I'm literally watching this one person who was doing a vlog, and she went and pulled out from the shipper and made a wrong turn and had to have police help her back up. Now, I've done that, but in my case, I only got like 2 weeks of training because I came over as a partially qualified driver, and then was thrown in a truck and told, have at it, in a lease truck, and then I was sent over to New York City. But you're talking about people that have been in these training programs 5 months, and they're making these kind of mistakes. And it's like, how do you go from getting 5 months of training and still not know how to do your job? And the only way it makes sense is you got these owner-operator / quote-unquote lease operators that are leasing a truck, and they go and become a trainer so that they can pay off their truck faster and make more money, right? And so what you actually have is not a training truck that's ran as a training truck, where the trainer does his job and the trainee knows their job, which is to be trained, to be coached, to be mentored, and the trainer understands his role and is a trainer, teaches you how to do your job, teaches you the fundamentals of everything that you need to know, tell you the why, tell you the law, tell you, the reasons why you do the things you do. What you end up with is somebody that is running his own business and only needs a co-driver in order to sit in that driver's seat and hold the steering wheel. And they're running it as a team operation, and that's all they care about. That's the only thing that makes sense of how somebody can go 5 to 6 months in this training course and still not know how to do their job. And some of these stories that I'm hearing from this company, both from the trainers and from the trainees, about, there's been a whole lot of videos talking about nightmare trainees, and then you hear a lot of these stories from the trainees that are like, my trainer was a nightmare trainer, right? So a lot of the stuff that I'm hearing, it's like, okay, the first thing that you've got to do when somebody gets into your truck is you've got to get them to realize that they're not driving a car anymore. What do I mean by that? Well, it's not a car. It's an 80,000 pound truck that's 13'6" to the top of the trailer, and your center of gravity is much higher. The physics are different, and so, yeah, you can't go around a 55 mile an hour corner at 65. It just isn't going to work. You can't go around a 45 mile an hour corner at 55. It's not going to work. When you take an off-ramp, you don't have all the way up to the last quarter of that off-ramp to start hitting your brakes. You need to start slowing down at the very beginning or a little bit before the off-ramp. So, and a lot of the driving habits that people have when they get into these trucks usually have to do with acceleration, deceleration, and going too fast and driving around corners. All you got to do is get them to realize the why, the physics, what they're driving, and how they're driving. That's it. just get them to realize that, hey, if you want to do well, you've got to understand the reason, the method, and the application. It's really not any more complex than that. But, then again, I've been training for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. So, I just have a real simple-minded approach, and if you don't make it really simple, 5 months. I cannot believe that people are in these trucks for 5 months and they still can't do their job. They still don't understand the fundamentals of backing. They still don't understand the fundamentals of sliding their tandems. And, there's some people out there that you can talk to and they're just uncoachable, they're untrainable, and they just don't listen, that are just going to continue to do the same thing time after time after time. And then you have trainers out there that allow things to go too far, and they don't do anything, and they don't intervene soon enough, and things like that. And, with me personally, I look for progress. I do a recap, and I let you know if you're doing something wrong, and I say something, I'm looking for improvement. If I don't see it, and I see you do the same thing again, I'm going to talk to you a second time, a little bit more seriously. If I see you do it a third time, that's when the decision gets made. Are you in this to stay, or am I going to be dropping you off somewhere? Now, this can be erratic lane changes. This can be going too fast on ramps. This can be not cornering correctly. This can be a whole lot of different things. But if I see the same thing happen 3 times, then I know a couple of different things. I know that the person is either hard of hearing or they're not listening. And I also know that they're not looking to improve and they're just there to run miles, or you're just in their way and they think that they know better. So, i.e., they're uncoachable, untrainable, right? So I will usually, within the first week, I will know whether I'm going to progress with a trainee or not. And out of about a dozen trainees, I've kicked 2 off my truck. So, if you're not here to learn, if you're not here to be coached, you're not here to be mentored, and you don't understand your role and my role, you ain't sticking around on my truck. It just isn't going to happen. Now, and it usually involves a couple of real serious conversations, but, it's not that hard to get through to somebody, but it's also not that hard to assess the situation very quickly and not drag it on a lot further than it needs to go. Now, with this in particular company, with Prime, I couldn't imagine being in a truck with a trainee for 5-6 months. That's just insane. Now, reefers are a little bit more tricky, but I still don't think that it takes that long. I would say if I was to, in my mind, put together the perfect length of a training course, I would have to say somewhere between a month to 6 weeks at the most. You're talking 10 to 15,000 miles, and I've had trainees back my truck up 15, 20 times, 25 times within 3 weeks, sometimes more. And usually by that last week, it all starts to click together. And I don't see any problems. They're able to go and pass their test, their backing test, and driving test, and all of that. So 5 months, what are you doing for 5 months? Especially if you're not able to do your job. And then some of these people, they go on and make videos, and you're seeing them make these mistakes, and it's like, did you learn nothing over 5 months? That's just crazy. Anyway, I'm rambling. So, If you like this video, please like and subscribe and share. And as always, God bless you all and thanks for watching.